Every comic reader knows that getting a new writer can either make or break a character. Sometimes a writer takes over your favourite character and takes them to new creative heights. Or they're handed to a writer that doesn't understand who they are. And in comics, that happens a lot. The same character gets passed from writer to writer for decades, and sometimes the person writing them doesn't even like the character. And when that happens, fans can tell instantly. That's just the reality of comics. Writers change all the time. Some runs are legendary, some are forgettable. And sometimes a new writer comes in and decides to reinvent a hero in ways that go completely against their core identity. Sometimes it's their own choice. Sometimes it's editorial pressure, but either way, the result is the same. The character just feels wrong, and once you break that connection with the fans, it's hard to get it back. The most famous example of this has to do with Spider-Man. Everyone knows Peter Parker is defined by one quote:
"With great power comes great responsibility."
That's the whole point of his character. Doing the right thing, even when it's difficult. But we've all heard of One More Day. Yep. In 2007, Marvel had to make a literal deal with the devil, Mephisto, to erase his marriage to Mary Jane. Fans hated it. Not just because it was a weird story choice that separates a beloved couple for 10 years, but because it completely broke the core of Peter Parker, taking this deal to avoid taking responsibility for unmasking in Civil War. He took the easy way out. He made a selfish choice that affects not only MJ, but Aunt May. The story didn't feel like Spider-Man. It felt like editorial trying to reset the status quo. This happens to characters all the time. But for me, there's one character that suffers from this more than most. That's right, Green Arrow. Because with Ollie, his beliefs aren't just important to him, they are his character. And when writers ignore that, everything starts falling apart. See, Green Arrow is DC's conscience. He's political, he's outspoken, he's anti-authority, anti-corporate, he's pro-people. He's the guy calling out the Justice League for being out of touch. That's what makes him more than just Batman with a bow. His ideals, his politics, his sense of justice and view on life after being stranded on the island are at the core of his character. Without them, Ollie just doesn't work. That's why it's so frustrating when writers ignore that. Take his relationship with Black Canary. Ollie and Dinah are one of the most iconic DC couples. They work because they share values, they fight the same battles, they believe in the same causes and always have each other's backs. But then Judd Winnick took over as writer for Green Arrow. In this series, Oliver is introduced to Black Lightning's niece, Joanna, a lawyer representing a class action lawsuit against a big company that needs help financing. So far so good. But as time goes on, they begin to grow closer, to the point even Mia knows something's off. Later, Green Arrow visits her apartment at night to talk about the case, when she notices his wounds. Yeah, I'm sure you can see where this is going. She tries patching him up, and one thing leads to another, and oh no, they're kissing. Now, this is bad. We all know it. But what makes it worse is how the writer doubles down. Oliver feels ashamed, so decides the best course of action is to suddenly distance himself from Dinah, telling her not to come to Star City. On top of this, when Joanna visits him, he's a dick to her too, expecting that she knew he was in a relationship with Black Canary and almost blaming her for it, even though she had no idea. And then still, it gets worse. He returns to her apartment to find her dead. Killed by Draken, faking her suicide. If you need any more proof that the writer's views don't align with Ollie's character, Joanna's whole role was as a plot device to have Ollie cheat on Dinah and then be killed off as soon as she's not needed anymore. Following this, Oliver ghosts Dinah until she breaks up with him 10 issues later. Look, obviously characters make mistakes. It's boring when they're perfect. But writing flaws into a character that don't align with their current ideals is lazy and shows a clear misunderstanding or lack of care. It reduces Ollie to this shallow stereotype of a sleazy playboy. It ignores his growth since the island, ignores his loyalty, ignores the heart of who he's supposed to be. All of this is pivotal to the character. If you're ignoring his values and how the island and becoming Green Arrow changed him, you aren't writing Green Arrow. This was a while ago, and although these types of issues seem to be in the past for writers of Oliver, his characterization still isn't perfect. Chris Condon's current run on Green Arrow has been really good overall, but I'm still having issues with some ways his character is being written. The most recent arc sees the freshwater killers targeting elites in Star City for cutting costs and essentially poisoning their housing many years ago, leading to health issues for many of their residents, ruining and ending the lives of many, from senior citizens to children. He does have sympathy and sure he stands up for them. Upon defeating the group and locking them away, he even funds an environmental group that rebuilds and repurposes the land that got them sick, in honour of those affected by the freshwater environmental disaster. Then, going on to say this, push come to shove, I'd be standing alongside people like them. But is this true for this Green Arrow? Condon clearly has a great understanding of Oliver's character, but the story as a whole still feels at odds with his ideals. The climax of the arc sees Ollie in battle with the freshwater killers, firing upon them, acting more like a cop than Green Arrow. I know many can argue, what was he supposed to do? Let them carry on killing? But that's only a position Chris has put Ollie in when he decides to make the Freshwater Gang the villains of the story. Don't get me wrong, it's an interesting story and was a lot of fun, but it's not necessarily one that serves Ollie's values, but rather one that clashes with them, with tape around it, to make it work just enough. Maybe a different resolution would have had Oliver helping the Freshwater Gang earlier, rather than waiting after the fact and after he's already beaten them. He's not a cop sidekick. He's not there to crush grassroots movements. He's the guy who should be standing with the people, not reinforcing authority. Okay, the last thing I want to cover is the wealth issue. Ollie being rich has always conflicted with his ideals. It's even something that's been called out in the comics themselves quite a lot. Some of the best runs in his history involve him losing or giving away his fortune, becoming the man of the people he's supposed to be. But DC always cycles back to him being a billionaire again. It's like they can't resist, and every time it happens it undermines what makes him unique in the first place. I'd really like to see them stick with this for a prolonged time, but it's often the nature of comics to return them to a similar place they started with, making it easier for readers somewhat familiar with characters to jump back in. Comic characters don't have to be static. There's always opportunities to reinvent and be creative with characters that have been around for almost a century. But when the changes you're making actively clash with the core values of your character, maybe you're not the person for the job. Okay, thanks for watching. Now I just want to clarify, I do love the latest Green Arrow run. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes next. It's been a while since I uploaded anything, and I'm hoping to get into the swing of things again now. We'll see if that happens though. Anyway, if you subscribe, you'll probably get notified when I do post, and liking and commenting goes a long way, especially for a channel this small. I'll be doing more videos on comics, films, games, basically anything fun to talk about, so hopefully I'll see you there.